Welcome back. It's time to venture to a place we hardly know. Well, I could have just said somewhere only we know, but that's a different thing. That's a song. But we don't know this. We don't know this place. This is Division 2 Overwatch for the TEC High School Series. And I'm excited to see how these teams stack up against each other today.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. There's a handful of second teams from some of the schools that are in Division 1 that are playing in Division 2, and as well. You've got a couple of you've got rosters of people, Joker, that you and I don't know, and representing schools that we haven't gotten to watch. This is actually a real treat for us. We are watching schools that we do already know. It's going to be West Branch versus Richland for this Division 2 game. And because of that, we'll actually see a returning face from our previous series, which is awesome. But before we cover that, I think there's a couple of players that I want to highlight here as players to potentially keep our eyes on. Representing the West Branch squad is going to be Toby XDZ. Want to keep an eye on this DPS player for Richland. I'm sorry, that's not West. For West Branch. 16 elims, 4 deaths. You're looking average per 10 minutes or so. And to see 4 deaths is really good. That means that you're actually maximizing the amount of time that you're able to participate in the fight, which is awesome. But that's someone to keep an eye on for West Branch. For Richland, we have another player.
Yeah, we've got I am Kendall 21. They are a support player. 8 eliminations is pretty good. Pretty good on the support. That 6 deaths as well if it's throughout the entire series. It's pretty good. Averaging maybe 2 deaths or 3 deaths depending on how many maps they played. It's pretty good. I mean, you need to keep your supports alive, and that's showing up for I am Kendall 21 there.
Yeah, and so this is a particularly interesting matchup in Division 2 because these teams in the standings are actually so close to each other. Nothing that we necessarily need to look at, but Richland is 1-1, West Branch is 0-1. So West Branch in Division 2 is actually looking for their first win, where Richland is looking to keep the streak going and continue to accrue wins, put them closer and closer to that 2-0 Forest Hills position, actually matched by Shade and Gateway at the number 1 seed. So Richland wants to be competitive in that, and that's part of what this matchup is going to show us today. It's the same map pool as in our previous series, and as in our upcoming series as well. Oasis, Shambali Monastery, and then if we're able to get there, New Queen Street for our push map. Joker, you and I talked a little bit about Oasis earlier on City Center in particular. Talked about the absence of a Wrecking Ball. I don't imagine we see any of the Division 2 teams run out with a Wrecking Ball.
Probably not.
It would be a real treat. But, do we anticipate kind of the same style of Overwatch gameplay, of team compositions, the rush down, brawly, Reinhardt-centric comps? Or maybe do we see for this series maybe more flex picks, comfort picks, more of that experimenting like we got to see a little bit of from Hollidaysburg in the previous series?
I'm gonna have to expect probably more comfort-based picks in going forward. Well, I mean, obviously we'll see as we're loading into the game as things have started out already, and maybe not. We're seeing a Ramatra come out already from one of these teams here. From the side of, I believe that is a West Branch right now on blue, as Toby, that player we talked to about watching early on, starting things off well for West Branch, finding that first pick.
Yeah, really nice first fight there. West Branch, Trickster is already 50% to that rip tire, and that's actually pretty notable. Gives you an idea of the damage that they've been doing to Richland's formation. So West Branch taking this fight really well. They're just going to have to keep up the pressure and stay on this objective. That's a nice pick to secure here for Richland, though.
That is a nice pick, but to come quickly afterwards for West Branch to keep the point all nice and in their favor.
I'll tell you one of the things that I like about Richland's comp, though, against the spam damage of West Branch is Richland, Addy and Mayday are both on these main healers, these support heroes who can pump out a ton of healing. That's a nice pin. Is that 2 picks off of that? That's crazy!
That is crazy indeed. Iron Dragon finding 2 picks and yet again solidifying that fight off the back of them as it's accruing up to 55% now.
Keep an eye on this Earth Shatter from Iron Dragon. With Prince now and the Diva, there's no way for Richland to block it, so I'm really excited to see Richland kind of track this Shatter and be able to position around it so that as few of them get stunned as possible.
Yeah, as the Riptire is going to come out here now, finding 2 from NY Trickster. There as they're going to be able to find out Toby and Ender's World. Mr. Blackjack coming in with the Sojourn, looking for picks, and Signify also getting in on it as they're trying to come on to this point. It is looking good, but a nice fire strike from Iron Dragon stays the course for West Branch as Mayday is there, but they're not going to be able to push into a Reinhardt now with the backing of a Moira and a Lucio as the skill orb takes down Mayday.
Oh, and the Reinhardt and the Lucio both had their ultimates there as well, right? So you've got the offensive potential of putting, what is it Jaws used to say in Overwatch League, 6 men on their back, and then you also had the defensive potential of, upwards of 1,500 collective health granted to your team. So, West Branch, one of the things that I actually really liked about that is that at the end, they didn't just throw the ults out there, because if there was a touch to anticipate from Richland, then you would have needed those ults to contest. So, there's discretion, there's prudence on the side of West Branch right now, which made that a compelling round for them. See if Richland has an opportunity to bounce back here. University, you're kind of shoehorned into those brawl rush compositions, but here on Gardens, you're a little bit more free to operate, and I anticipate Prince is going to incur a little bit less opposition than they did the previous map.
Yeah, as they're going to come in 2 things here now. NY Trickster on to the Echo. Interestingly enough here, as they're going to pump in a lot of damage, but they are going to find that first pick in the fight. That DMAC does come through from Toby on the Bastion as West Branch capitalizes on that and just takes out everyone they need to.
And you're accruing ults the whole time as well. Signify on Richland is the only one who's really coming up on their ultimate ability, but for West Branch, they're building all of their most powerful cooldowns pretty rapidly, which is important. Look, the point is only at 14% progress, and you started this fight with another pick.
Yeah, another nice pick coming in here from Iron Dragon, who's just been unstoppable right now on this tank roll for West Branch as Addy trying to get out. They do get away with their life, but Richland not coming away unscathed still as West Branch continue to dominate right now.
They're going to be coming up on, once again, the sound barrier, the shatter as well. I do actually, I forego that you mentioned the Echo pick. I do like the flexibility of the Echo. You can go in on that, on those assassinations, just like Trickster did there onto Signify, but you can also apply that pressure onto the tanks that we got to talk a little bit about in the previous series. Nowhere near close enough to the dupe, but honestly, that's only one portion of Echo that is really important. The rest is per neutral. There's a neutral fight here breaking out.
Yeah, there is indeed, as Prince looking for an opening for Richland, but that was so much damage coming in from NY Trickster sticky bombs that it just really wrapped up the fight because they couldn't heal through it.
No, sticky bombs do so much damage to one target, let alone if that target is sitting like right within melee range of their 4 teammates. And it's a lot of ultimate charge as well. I think Trickster doubled the amount of ultimate generation that they had prior to starting that fight. Signify has a Riptire, speaking of ultimates, and that's a free win condition, albeit they're down a man now.
They are down a man, and I think this is all but over as West Branch take map number 1 in a convincing 2-0 fashion.
I was not even watching the timer. I wasn't even watching the point progress ramp up. I was looking at Richland, seeing, asking myself, how do you break this? How do you break into this defensive brawl composition that West Branch is running? And they're still working on an answer for that. But I think, definitely part of it is, opting out of these areas where the rush composition is really good, right? Yeah, I think that this is something I mentioned on the last series is, one of the cool things about Monkey, and this is shared with Diva, is that, you can just run off from the ride, force him to chase you while you kind of isolate and then eliminate, one target after the next, force Reinhardt to watch all of his teammates die before his eyes. That's a little bit sad, but
Mhm.
kind of what you have to do when you're up against the Reinhardt composition. So, there's definitely some mid-game adaptations that can be made here on the side of Richland, and maybe also a little bit of cleanup there from West Branch as well. Although again, them making sure that they have their ults for when they need them is fantastic. For Richland, again, it's going to be a matter of making those adaptations. They're already 1-1 in the standings. They have that lead over West Branch, and they want to maintain that. So for Shambali Monastery, it's a matter of making sure they can hold the objective for as long as possible and push it as far as they possibly can.
Yeah, and I'm excited for Shambali here. Hopefully, we get
Mm-hmm.
to see more of the map than our previous series. I mean, hey, who doesn't like a good spawn hold? But hey, I love seeing this full map. It's just so beautiful, so pretty, and a really good map nonetheless.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into this game and see if there's any changes coming in from these two teams. See if they're opting to change up their playstyle, or they can continue to go with what was working for them.
Honestly, I would really appreciate Richland kind of sticking their guns here. We got to see again, kind of signs of life, little sparks that could have kindled into flames there. That would have led to perhaps a one duel and then a one fight and then a captured objective and then one round, one map. One series, right? You always got to compartmentalize those goals, take it one step at a time. So absolutely, I want to see Richland be able to swap onto their comfort picks, but I also think that they had some really good potential to look good on what they were already running. And a team like West Branch, even here in Division Two, is a fantastic opportunity to refine the strategies that they're wanting to commit to for the rest of the season. Needless to say, we will have a change from Richland coming in. I think it's going to be end up being a role swap heading into Shambali. And so this is a great opportunity for you and me, Joker, to see the flexibility and the depth from these players.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing going into Overwatch 2, the flexibility, the need to be flexible going
Yep.
into this game with the not knowing what was going to be meta, and they're showing their flexibility as Signify and Mayday are swapping things around here, Lord Ethan.
Yeah, so Mayday was the support for the last map, and I'm sorry, Signify was the DPS. In fact, they were on the Junkrat there on Oasis Gardens. So with them swapping roles, that's going to put Mayday in charge of handling that pressure of winning those duels, and then for oh my goodness, I'm losing my mind already. I already forgot his name. I'm sorry for Richland, the swap from Richland. I keep thinking about Striker. Joker, you're gonna have to help me.
Signify?
Signify,
Man.
there we go. Sounds
Yeah.
close enough to Striker. And for Signify, it's just going to be making sure that their tank stays alive and that they also lock down those angles that are going to be challenged by, maybe a flanker that might be want to be run by West Branch. No flankers. You might have to deal with the echo off angling a little bit here on Shambali Monastery. There are actually some pretty good spots that you can fly to, get a lethal sticky bomb leading into a focus beam kill. But no, Signify actually on the Mercy, they just gotta kind of stick with Mayday and make sure that all of their damage instances are being amplified.
Yeah, as they're gonna come in here, starting things off, already making some good progress as Endersword in the back line, finding Addy out already. Toby is gone, but it's looking good for West Branch as Enderswold's in the back, finding another pick for West Branch. Top Dragon and NY Trickster as well getting in on it, but Enderswold finding 3 is the big story.
Yeah, I watched it from Mayday's perspective there, and Ender kind of juked him out a little bit and faded off into an area where Mayday was like, oh wait, I lost track of them, and that's a huge lead. Ender does get eliminated though this fight.
Yeah, as they're going to come in here at Ender's World, like you said, already down and out, and Toby coming through down. Iron Dragon does find Mr. Blackjack, but it's not looking good for West Branch at the moment. But just as I say that, the DMAC and now Iron Dragon able to go into the rest of Richland here as the respawns coming back of Ender's World to keep up Iron Dragon and keep this hold going for West Branch.
Look at this too. West Branch has 4 players who all already almost have their ultimates or do have them now. I don't think we've seen the Shatter or the Sound Barrier. We see the duplicate for the first time today from Trickster.
Yeah, the duplicate is out on to the Diva, trying to build up to that self-destruct. Can they get there in time? Is the question. No, they cannot is the answer, but maybe they don't need it. But Mr. Blackjack finding one already, but now going down to the Bastion. It's still looking good for West Branch at the moment, with the Coalescence coming out from Ender's World, trying to pump down Signify, and it's going to work out well. They've already found that pick with the Coalescence, but can they find more off the back? If the self-destruct coming out, they're trying to keep them up and healthy, and they do. No one goes down to the Diva Mac as it's looking better and better for West Branch. The pin coming through, not gonna find anything but the Shatter. No, they're not gonna use it there. They had them all lined up, Lord Thethan, but they don't need it in the end. There's the Shatter coming out. Mr. Blackjack using the Death Blossom of their own, finding 2, but it's not going to be enough to win them this fight out.
No, Richland is still going to end up losing too many to get some progress here on this objective. A little bit unfortunate for them. They are running a little bit low on time, so being able to move the cart just a little bit here is really important.
Yeah, as they're gonna come in this next fight. No ultimates on the board for Richland, and that huge ultimate coming in. The artillery strike coming in from Toby, finding 2. The Coalescence also being used, helping with the DMAC of Prince as the team kill gong sounds yet again. It's down to 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's Ender's second Coalescence, by the way. The first one they had used to kill Signify while they were in their Valkyrie, which is Signify's ultimate. You see Ender already 27% to a third Coalescence, while Signify's still working towards that second Valkyrie. And again, you know, it kind of just gives you a picture of how difficult it is for Signify to get ult charged because their team is dying so fast. There's a lot of damage going into Richland.
There is indeed, as Ender's World yet again getting in on that kill feed for West Branch. As there it goes. They're going to look to try to turn the tide. Addy is going to try to build up to this Coalescence before the overtime bar ticks away, but that's not going to happen as they're back to spawn. The overtime bar ticks away, and I must have cursed it, Lord Thethan, because we did not get to see any more of the map yet.
Which is so sad, because if we got to see more of the map, I would actually talk about the other section of the map. You know, I'd mention the qualms of the player base that it's just it's just one big high ground push, which is always absolutely brutal. Talk about the again, kind of like I mentioned earlier, the echo flank routes that you can capitalize on if you're playing one of those assassin style DPS characters. So there's a lot of this map to talk about, Joker. But it seems as if we'll just have to wait for the remaining 2 series of the afternoon for a chance to talk about them. For now, Richland, they want to hold this. The question is how. They found a composition to do so on, and I like the ideas behind it. You've got lots of sustain, lots of support coming from Signify and Addy on the Mercy Moira. You've got a lot of damage mitigation and point presence from Prince as well. You might not think that, or you might think that not having a barrier is a huge deficit. It's not. Diva's actually got some nutty damage mitigation potential. Mm-hmm. And then on top of the obscene damage that Mr. Blackjack is going to be able to pump out, you've also got that one-shot potential and a demand for respect from the angles that Mayday will be maintaining. For West Branch, it's a straightforward endeavor. Stack on the cart, push into Richland, win the fight, win the map, and then the series. But for Richland, they do have a couple of tools that they can use to delay the inevitable or to swing this whole series.
Well, they've got to do something. Well, man, I think it's all went over there.
I hyped it up, Joker. I should have said, let's see what Richland does, and then waited for the narrative to unfold. But no, as you cursed it, I have as well. But perhaps a blessing, in fact, as West Branch does take the series 2-0 and solidifies themselves at 1-1 in the Division 2 standings.
Yeah, very good for West Branch to get back into things here as we're looking at Iron Dragon yet again, who was just a standout for West Branch to this afternoon. Just finding pick after pick for the side of West Branch there as well with Ender's Word or Ender's Sword, one of the two. But they were incredible as well on that Moira.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I really liked about that play of the game is the Reinhardt holding up a shield to prevent losing their life there. Always an easy thing to talk about is like, oh well, you died, but you had so much of your barrier left, and so these little moments of clarity from these players, evidence that they're really thinking about what they're doing, the decisions that they're making in game. Again, I just have insane respect for it. But Joker, we have I think we've sung the praises of these teams enough at this point. We got 2 more series to cover and only a little bit of the afternoon remaining. So if you haven't already, go grab a snack, hydrate, tell some friends that you're watching so that they can come join us, because we're going on a short break and we'll be right back on the other side.